Hi everyone, it's Kim at the Vintage Bunny, and I am super excited to have finally finished my For the Birds journal. I have it bound with a ribbon, which is attached to the front cover. And with this journal comes this little mini sketchbook, art book with watercolor paper, and that is mounted into the cover of this American Birds field guide. Also a few tags, a few little extra goodies tucked in there. Now we get to the main journal. I do have a little loop here for a charm if you want to add one, but I did not make a charm for this journal. When we open it up, inside the cover, we have this giant loaded tag. We have a pocket here with a journaling card. Here we have a tiny little notepad and a large journaling card with a real feather in there. Tucked in here. Here we have a little journaling card. Here we just have room to journal, some pretty paper, some postcards I have clipped here, more room to journal, an Edith Holden book page. Here we have a long, thin tag, another tag here, another tag here. Here we have some vintage paper, room to journal. Here we have a page from the field guide, part of a page of a field guide tucked in to this long narrow pocket. Here we have a tag with room to journal and another tag. Here we have vintage paper, more vintage paper. Here we have a little card clipped in, more vintage paper. Here we have a little journaling card clipped on. This flips out. This is a large tag, more vintage paper, more room to journal. These are so interesting. I got these in a vintage haul. I'm not sure what they were, but there's a few of them in here. This is the ruby-throated hummingbird, just tucked in. More vintage paper, or the other half of the vintage paper, I should say. Here is an owl, same as the hummingbird paper. Here we have a paper clip with a journaling card tucked under. More space to journal. A little CD envelope with a card enclosed. Room to journal. A little paper clip. Little card clipped in. Here we have a little field-size notebook. I stamped some birds on. Here another page from the field guide, the bird field guide. Another little paper clip. Here we have a loaded tag with the tag in the pocket. Oops. Some vintage handwriting on that tag. Birdie. Here we have a collage. Here are a couple envelopes. You can tuck things in or journal on the back. More vintage paper. A little paper clip. Space to journal. More vintage paper, vintage music paper. Here I think is a little flip out with some room to journal. More vintage paper. This one's got a lot of vintage paper. Here's a little flip with another page from the bird book and some pockets. The other half of the music paper. Here we've got a little flip out, a pocket, and a tag. Also flips up with another tag. Vintage paper, room to journal. Here's another one of those. This is the Robin. I think I included everything I got in this journal. Another tag in a pocket. More journaling space. The other half of this vintage paper, journaling space. A pocket with a tag. And this actually flips out. We have a couple more tags in here. Here we have some drawing paper. Sketch on. Glue something to. This flips over. Another large tag there. Here we have a flip out journaling card clipped in there. Pockets here with some little tags to journal on. This one ties closed. Inside I have space to journal here. Space to journal here, a tag inside of this. This can get tied. Here we have a pocket with another large loaded tag tucked in and some flips in the back. Each one has a little pocket and a little card to journal on. Back here, we've got a tuck spot with a vintage newspaper article about birds. Another piece of vintage paper with birds, vintage page from the book, and a cute little tag with a real feather and a little tag to journal on. And that's it. Oh no, it's not it. We also have this little pocket flips out with some journaling cards and another feather. It flips over. I've tucked a bunch of postcards in here and a large tag. So here we've got a guest check. We've got this flips out with another page from the book and a tag, some collaging in there. I'll put this over here so I don't bend it. And then this is it, the last pocket. It's got some more vintage paper. It's got a cute little tag, another postcard, and this is made out of a paper bag. It's just a cute little mini notepad. All right, this time that's really it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, I'm sorry, this will be available in my Etsy shop, One Vintage Bunny. Thanks for watching. Bye.